The show focused on delivering beneficial information on everything to do with products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome back to Quay Pacific's Talk About Strata. Sterling Fox with you along with Tony Gioventu, Executive Director of the Condominium Homeowners Association of British Columbia, who, by the way, have a fantastic website. If you're looking for any information about Strata, anything to do with Strata and condominium living in British Columbia, CHOA, that is the Condominium Homeowners Association, CHOA.bc.ca is a terrific website to visit. That's a great jumping off spot. Lots of answers to the multiple issues facing condominium owners in our province. Gordon Lee is a Strata Insurance specialist with CMW Insurance in Burnaby. Gordon, good to have you with us. And as long as we're talking about the big one, the earthquake insurance and all of that, you have to add in, because we had up in the Haida Gwaii shaker there 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was almost disappointment that there wasn't a tsunami, and yet there was a tsunami warning that came attached with the hurricane. That is standard protocol. We've since found out every hurricane beyond a certain magnitude automatically triggers a tsunami warning. We were lucky we didn't have to deal with that, but you know, we do get surges and we do get tsunamis. And is that covered in an earthquake policy, Gordon? Or do you have to go to a whole other insurance area to get that coverage in addition to what we know as earthquake insurance?
Well, that would fall under a separate coverage under flood coverage. And so if you get surge, tidal waves, generally you're going to find that in the wording under the definition or under a property wording, it's going to exclude flooding, waves, tidal waves.
Oh.
And this coverage is bought back where there's a flood coverage section which would provide coverage for that.
So if you go to your broker and say, I want earthquake insurance, and you get this, and you work out the deductible, and you say 25,000 is a reasonable number to go for, should you ask then, am I getting flood coverage with this, or is it likely that I'm going to have to add on a flood coverage clause too? And is it likely the broker's going to say, yeah, you got to add flood coverage because this doesn't cover it?
Well, the interesting thing is that the flood coverage on the commercial side is generally automatically included as part of the package.
That would be for a building then,
for a building.
Okay.
On a homeowner side, generally is not available.
Uh-huh.
So if you are, say, a freestanding homeowner, right, and you live by the river and you come to, you go to a broker and say, look, you know, I need flood coverage, they're going to find themselves, that's not available.
Yeah, one of the problems that we have, and it's across the province, is that we have communities that are built on floodplains.
Yes.
Right? And so
some of which are out there in the Fraser Valley.
Fraser Valley, the interior, up north, along the coast. And we have communities that are subtidal. When you look at high tide levels, we look at Richmond, and here we are at high tide. Our community is subtidal.
That's
and so,
right.
you know, so tidal surge itself, for the most part of British Columbia, we'd be dealing on the coast with tidal surge. On the outer coast, we're dealing with the risk of tsunami.
Right, over in Tofino, Ucluelet, Souk, that part of the province.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The Barclay Sound, Alberni Inlet, Victoria, you know, the potential there is for tsunami greater than what we find in the same capacity in the Georgia Strait. So, but tidal surge, high tide, tidal surge caused by storms, all of those issues are matters that strata communities need to think about with respects to their coverage, because it is very much a realistic possibility.
So a take-home from this program, if nothing else, for the individual strata homeowner should be get that insurance policy out, and perhaps a face-to-face with the person you bought it from might be a really smart idea. And let's review this thing clause by clause. And do you want that flood coverage? You probably don't have it. You better secure it if you really, and if you think you've got it, double check with the person who sold you the policy, Gordon, because you're nodding emphatically. Chances are you don't have it, even though you think you do, right?
Doesn't hurt to check.
Right.
That's what the broker's there for.
Right. And if they were good enough to take your money 6 months ago when they sold you the policy, they ought to be good enough to take your phone call and have a meeting with you to review that policy, because they want your business when it expires in another 6 months, don't they?
Yes, they do. And they certainly should review that policy. It's their job to do so with you.
Right.
So, you know, do not hesitate to give them a call or send them an email and says, you know, what am I covered for here? Or if you've got questions regarding specific coverages, you should ask, because you should know and be prepared, because there's still deductibles in place. So you should know how much you're responsible for.
Okay. And Tony, as Gordon has described, a good, smart, practical instructions to the individual condominium home owner. What about an instruction in a general sense to the property managers and the strata councils themselves with respect to insurance coverage?
Well, strata councils, to make this job easier for them, should all have a copy of the insurance policy every year in its entirety. They are the individuals with the fiduciary responsibility to make sure that they look after the best interests of the strata corporation, and that's protecting their risks and liabilities.
Okay.
I'm appalled at the number of strata corporations who do not provide the documentation to all their strata council members. You will likely have someone who with more knowledge or experience on your strata council who can read the policies, who can look at them, who can have a better understanding. New Year's is coming. It's not far away.
Right.
Set yourself a New Year's resolution that you're going to look at your insurance policy and try and understand what you bought. Try and understand what is covered, and try and figure out where the holes are. What are the unusual things about our property that we may or may not have insurance for. One of the circumstances we see across the province is strata corporations that are attached to golf courses. Golf courses, which are frequently part of the strata corporation, infrequently we find that they don't have sufficient insurance to cover all their risks and liabilities.
Well, as we mentioned at the outset of this program, friends, this is an extremely complex and very intricate topic. If we've tweaked a few, provoked perhaps a few thoughts in your mind, and you're looking for more information, I've already mentioned CHOA, CHOA.bc.ca, the Condominium Homeowners Association website, as a terrific resource. Gordon, how about CMW Insurance? Is there a website
Yes.
there with more info for people as well? And what's the address?
That's cmwinsurance.com.
CMWinsurance.com.
Yes.
Gordon Lee, thank you for coming by, sir. Great to meet you, and hopefully we'll have you stop in again for another visit.
Thank you very much.
Tony, good to see you.
It's great as always. Look forward to next month.
I'm Stirling Fox. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.